Hello, so we just spent 8 days here in Sao Tome to do some due diligence on the Citizenship by Investment program. We're licensed agents. We had a really busy 8 days. We met with government officials, local entrepreneurs, did some tourism, met with banks, accountants, etc., to really get an overview of the country, of the program, and to help our clients get better insight into what they're buying into, essentially. Costa, who's our head of CBIs, and we met in Ghana, 11
years ago now, yeah.
11 years ago. I was working there, you were working there, and that's how we met.
Yeah.
So we've been around Africa. I spent 7 years of my life on the continent. I traveled all over the continent. And for us, this was both our first time on Sao Tome, and we'll be discussing our impressions, what we learned, what surprised us, what didn't surprise us. So Costa, how would you describe this trip?
It's been really laid back. It doesn't have a lot of the usual difficulties that you experience as a tourist in Africa. You know, there's very little harassment. There are very few touts, you know, when people ask you to go on a tour or to buy, you know, a souvenir or something like this. It's not very pushy. And honestly, it makes the experience a lot more pleasant. You don't really feel like anybody's here to take advantage of you, to try to suck money out of you. You can really kind of let your guard down and enjoy the place. You don't have to really worry about your things getting stolen. Honestly speaking, I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, safety is a big one. Africa is not always very safe depending on where you go, but here it felt very, very safe.
Yeah, like at our guest house, you know, we would leave all our belongings inside. You didn't have to worry about putting anything in a safe. It doesn't feel like there's petty crime nor violent crime.
The food was also a pleasant surprise. I mean, when you go into Central Africa, West Africa, as a Westerner, the food, particularly in English-speaking countries like Ghana, you know, Sierra Leone, Liberia, the food can be, as a Westerner, it's not what we're into. Francophone Africa is usually fine, but here, I mean, it was delicious.
It was delicious. I mean, we didn't really deviate from the seafood options that much, but you know, you see guys coming out of the ocean every day, bringing buckets of fresh fish. Like none of the seafood you eat is frozen. You can get amberjack, red snapper, tuna steaks, octopus. It's really, really good seafood, super fresh, and they know how to prepare. I mean, it really was pretty much on par with anything that you'd have in the South Mediterranean. And the portion sizes are huge.
Yeah, good portion sizes and not too expensive. Africa can be quite expensive, but here prices are not outrageous at all. I mean, these beers, we're in a bar, we're paying $1.80 per beer, and I think it's imported from Portugal.
Yeah, alcohol, not expensive at all. Fish, you know, if you go to a tourist restaurant, it might be something like 12 to 14 euros for a big plate of fish with sides. If you go to a more local place, it probably goes down to 5 or 6 euros. And the quality doesn't really, you know, the quality is pretty much on par. And they're making good fish everywhere, it seems.
Infrastructure-wise, I didn't really know what to expect, but it turns out it's generally okay. The main roads are okay up to a certain point. Then as soon as you start going a bit too far away from the capital city, then it turns into essentially
muddy potholes. Yeah. You know. Also, as far as electricity, there definitely are frequent power cuts. We were staying in places that all had diesel generators, so it didn't really impact our access to light, internet, things like this.
But it's something they definitely need to work on.
I think
that's the priority really for the Citizenship by Investment program, is taking that money and building up infrastructure. And I think the priority is literally energy, trying to fix the grid problem. The gas is cheap for the car. It was roughly $1.40 for 1 liter of gasoline.
It was roughly only a little under 30 euros to fill up the car after 5 or 6 days of driving.
Yeah.
So not bad at all.
So I don't know if there's subsidies or if they get a really good deal from Angola, or I don't know what the deal is, but these prices are much more affordable than what you find anywhere else really in the world, especially for a country that does not produce oil and gas.
Yet.
All right, so I think this is also an interesting call option. So right now the country's relatively poor, but I'd say you don't see abject poverty.
Yeah, so this is actually really interesting, is, you know, very basic needs seem to be covered. It's a small population. It's only 250,000 people on paper, but, you know, we're talking to people, and some people estimate that as many as 25% have emigrated to Portugal. So
Portugal opened the floodgates a few years ago to immigration, and people just flooded in from Angola, Mozambique, Sao Tome, and Brazil, all the former Portuguese colonies. So when people had that opportunity, they just went. Now it's hardening again, so the flows have stopped.
Yeah, even in the capital city, it does not feel dense at all. You know, you go around streets at night, there are very few people. I mean, you contrast it with a country like Nigeria, which obviously has an overflowing population. It's something like 240 million people. You know, you go to the capital city and there's obvious scarcities of basic needs like this, you know, and people really need to hustle to get through the day. And you don't really feel like they're living that same reality here at all. It's not to say that they have everything, of course, but basic needs here are generally covered relative to other countries in the region.
People were really friendly, and we met quite a few expats as well. The expat community is mostly Portuguese, but we came across quite a few French people. I think there are like 30 French people that live full-time on the island. Italians, inevitably, you always find Italians in random corners of Africa. Anglophones.
Not too many,
really, no.
Not too many, but at the same time, you know, the Portuguese have a pretty high proficiency in English, and they're very comfortable switching between it. If we met Portuguese expats while we were out and about, they had no problem, you know, switching to English for us. I don't think the same can really be said about Francophone Africa. There, the French language is very much dominant. If you're an English-speaking person, it's harder to have a robust social scene. Whereas here, I think that if you did not speak Portuguese, you would still, you know, make friends, get by. It's not that much of a problem.
At school, the second language is not English, but rather French. That I did not expect. I came quite a few people that spoke fluent French, accentless. I mean, people are talented with languages.
Yeah,
when they learn a language, they learn it well.
And the story behind the Francophone thing is the closest country geographically is, you know, obviously not Portugal or like, you know, not Nigeria, but it's actually Gabon. I think that there was a temporary emigration from here to Gabon. People would go, you know, work in houses and work in probably the energy industry. And as a result, their children learned French and came back. At least that's sort of like the explanation we were given. So there's still, I think, a pretty close relationship with Gabon. A lot of the people that you meet in service positions, you know, people at banks, when you go to get a SIM card, etc., the people working there will speak French comfortably.
And why Gabon? Because Gabon is essentially an oil state. It's one of the richest countries in Central Africa. This is what also could happen to Sao Tome. We were talking about the call option on oil and gas. There are a lot of exploration blocks. You've got some of the largest companies in the world that are doing exploration, like Petrobras, which recently bought a block, Shell, etc. I think Total Energy from France was also involved for a while. Because when you look, the Gulf of Guinea is full of oil and gas. Whether it be along Central Africa, so, you know, Angola, Congo, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, even a little bit in Cameroon. In West Africa, you've got Nigeria, there's oil and gas in Ghana and Ivory Coast, etc. Essentially, the whole Gulf of Guinea has oil and gas. So Sao Tome being right in the middle of the Gulf of Guinea, not that far off from the coast, the assumption is there has to be oil and gas somewhere. Oil and gas sources still haven't been found. I would tend to think that eventually, you know, someone will, you know, strike gold, if I can put it this way. And at that point, it'll just be, you know, oil money flowing. And you know, I would expect land prices to, you know, do 5x, 10x, you know, because land is pretty cheap here. That's pretty interesting. I'd say negative aspect of the country, but which also shows the potential, is right now their tourism strategy is a little questionable. They seem to be very much focused on European tourism. It's like, great, okay, but the only flights are to Portugal. And it's not like Portuguese people have a lot of disposable income. It's objectively a crappy market. I mean, we're talking of the poorest, amongst the poorest people in Europe, that being your main target market, with like very little upside either. Around them, they have all these like high growth African markets, but they're forcing visas onto these people. So you've got places like Nigeria with, I don't know, like 240 million people. Yes. Lagos, just so many millionaires, multi-million, like so much money in Lagos.
The upper crust of these countries, one, has more purchasing power than a middle-class Portuguese person. Two, they love spending money. You know, like if a Nigerian or a Cameroonian goes on vacation, you know, they want to go to the expensive club, they want to stay at the nice resort. It's not really clear, one, you know, if they can easily get a visa. They can't really right now. And two, I mean, if you wanted to spend a lot of money here, you wouldn't really know how to do it currently.
Look, and the reasoning is, oh, well, you know, we're worried about illegal immigration. It's like, well, you're a little island. You shouldn't be worried about illegal immigration. You can like kick them out pretty easy. Just have a program in place where you get the locals to snitch on the illegal aliens, and people will snitch on the illegal aliens. To Costa's point, you look at Lagos, you arrive at Lagos airport, there's private jets everywhere, and they have nowhere to go. They literally have nowhere to go. So where do rich Nigerians go on vacation, or for the weekend they go to Accra in Ghana? But I'm pretty sure a lot of them would like to bring their families or their mistresses or their friends over to, because yeah, that's the market, over to Sao Tome. It's just like an hour and a half flight. it's nice, it's calm, it's safe. They can get good food.
And the other thing, we lived in Ghana, and the whole coast of Africa, of West Africa, is beach. All of the population centers are on the coast. Sure, you can look at the beach, but the swimming, kind of mid. It's kind of like murky sand beaches, rough waves, etc. Polluted. Sao Tome. This place is a gem. It's an absolute tropical paradise. It has everything that you'd expect from an island like this.
And leaving that to the Portuguese is just a waste. It's like other people should benefit from that.
Yeah, there's a lot to enjoy here, and the tourism sector is just very obviously living below potential. Air connectivity as well.
Yeah, that's a problem. Air connectivity is a problem. It's essentially you're connected to Angola, which itself is not very well connected, to Libreville in Gabon, which itself is not very well connected, or essentially to Lisbon. Like the real connecting point is Lisbon.
And the flight to Lisbon, one of them, the TAP Portugal flight, stops in Accra, but we noticed that, when we stopped in Accra to come here, not many other people boarded the plane. So the majority of them are coming from Lisbon. And we keep asking people, what is the next airlink going to be? Nobody really has an answer. We were hoping to maybe hear about, airlines coming here to kind of explore network expansion, but it doesn't seem like any plans are in motion.
I'd like to touch on sovereignty. This country feels like it's a real country. In contrast, when you go to Caribbean countries, if they do or say something that the Brits don't like or the Americans don't like, immediately you've got the US Embassy breathing down their necks, or the British High Commission, and then they're forced to make changes, as we all know with everything that's happening with the Caribbean citizenship by investment programs, where, clearly they don't really have any sovereignty. Here, Sao Tome has managed to come up with a citizenship by investment program, for which we're licensed agents. Again, the world's most affordable, $90,000 for a single person, $95,000 for a family of 4. When you go around talking to people and you ask, is Portugal very involved? Is Portugal breathing down your neck? Is Portugal telling you what to do? No. Everyone is even surprised we asked this question. I was like, oh no, Portugal, no, they're pretty cool, which is great. They are their own country. In contrast to a lot of, Francophone countries where France is just like, ugh.
It seems much more like a relationship of cooperation than of control.
Absolutely. So real sovereignty, which I view as a huge positive. Again, unlike French Africa, where the French really breathe down the necks of these Central African and West African countries, or even some Anglophone countries where there's just a lot more British influence, American influence. There's not even a British High Commission here. There is no US Embassy. It's one of the few countries in the world without a US Embassy. It's managed from Angola.
From Luanda, yeah.
Yeah, from Angola. It used to be from Gabon, then they shifted to Angola. I guess they sent someone once in a while to do something. No one cares about this place, which in today's world of insanity and everyone getting involved in everyone else's business is a real positive. Ultimately, that's what you want in a plan B. It's, especially as a Westerner, is the passport of a country that nobody cares about.
Yeah, it's very hard to imagine a world where having a Sao Tomean passport is going to be some kind of geopolitical liability.
And it's not strange to be non-African and Sao Tomean. We have come across quite a few expats that naturalized Sao Tome. So, notably the French realtor, Maxime, he became a citizen of Sao Tome. We met some Italians and some Portuguese, etc. They got their citizenship. There's also an Egyptian and a Lebanese and a Chinese minority on the island. I assume that they're also getting their citizenship. So it's not strange. And this is often a misperception that people have. They're like, oh, I'm gonna have an African passport, that's not normal. Actually, it is. When you travel around Africa with an African passport, people aren't particularly surprised. It's not
really unique at all. There are probably tens of thousands of people in West Africa, if not more, who are, not of African descent and who are not local, who have the passport and obtained it through the normal naturalization pathways, which in a lot of these countries is about 5 years.
So Costa, your department is in charge of processing all our clients' applications, etc. Mm-hmm. What sort of clients do you have?
I'd say that it's extremely diverse. We really, at the moment, kind of have people from everywhere. We have Americans, we have Chinese people, we have stateless people from the Middle East. We have some German clients and also some Ukrainian clients. It's really across the board, and everybody has their own use case. There are certainly a lot of people that just want to keep it in their back pocket as a Plan B passport. But there are also people, for example, like I mentioned, stateless applicants who are, for the first time in their life, getting a travel document that can't be taken away from them. This passport really is kind of what you make of it. And, a few clients have spoken to me about wanting to dig their heels in a little bit more here. The place really, really does have that kind of potential. You could come here and start an eco lodge. You could buy real estate. You could start a restaurant. It really is an approachable place to actually live if that's what you want out of your Plan B. It doesn't really seem, like a place that will be overly complex to navigate, for example, Nigeria would be. It's quite welcoming overall. For the people that want the comprehensive Plan B solution, i.e. passport plus real estate plus a semblance of community and life on the ground, it has those things.
Sao Tome scores quite well on the Corruption Perception Index. It is substantially better ranked than most other African countries. Like you say, it's a country that you can navigate, do business in without coming across too many substantial issues. So that also makes a big difference.
It ranks ahead of a number of EU candidate countries, and I think even maybe some new entrants into the EU.
Yeah, the country also has problems. Clearly, it has a current account deficit. It has capital controls in place. Bringing money in is easy. Getting money out is not tremendously hard, but it can get a little expensive if you need to convert the local currency into euros or dollars. The spreads are quite high because of demand. There's a reason Sao Tome is selling its citizenship. It's not doing it out of altruism. It's doing it because it's trying to get Forex and it's trying to get funds for infrastructure development. And it's great. The CBI serves this very purpose, and it will help the country a lot. The fact that the country has such a program says a lot about its openness to the world and how it wants to improve its own situation. We met quite a few expats here in Sao Tome, and Costa, you were an expat in both Ghana and in Benin. Mm-hmm. By the way, Costa speaks French with a Beninois accent, which is pretty funny. And your Portuguese was very helpful. You were speaking some Brazilian Portuguese around. It got us around with the Prime Minister as well. So thank you, Costa. How would you compare expat life in Sao Tome versus expat life in Francophone Benin and in Anglophone Accra?
I mean, the biggest distinction that comes to mind is it doesn't really feel like the expat scene has critical mass at all. You'd meet someone and then realize that you basically have met all of their friends already. They know every single person you're talking about. As a consequence of that, people are quite reserved. They're kind of gossipy. They're concerned about their reputation because, there's not really anywhere to run here. I think people just kind of want to approach things more delicately here. It's not some place where they can, you can just operate recklessly and expect your reputation not to precede you. So that was kind of different. You did sort of feel in Ghana, the expat scene there is super robust. It's really tens of thousands of people from all over the world. It was very easy to blend in. It was very easy to just kind of mind your own business. You could be as involved as you wanted to be. Whereas here, if you're the one European or the one American showing up, for that given month, everybody's going to be kind of looking at you oh, what is that guy doing, etc. There's very much that kind of vibe.
If you're single, you might get a little bored. Options are limited. It's a small country. If you're with a family, there's no international school, English international school. There is a Portuguese international school, so your kids, which is fine. Your kids can learn Portuguese, all good. It's a useful language. It's actually very useful.
Yeah.
Brazil, Angola,
hundreds of millions of speakers, yeah.
Those are big markets. If I had to choose between Ghana or here with a family, here absolutely. Without a family, Ghana absolutely.
Yeah, you can imagine being here, it's very easy to have a car. You never have to wait to find parking. You just pull up anywhere on the side of the road. You never have to pay for it. Easy to imagine getting the kids in and out of the car. There are nice expansive sidewalks everywhere. It would be, a quiet life, but as a family, arguably quite pleasant. There are a lot of things to do on the weekend as far as recreation. You can go swimming, you can go snorkeling, you can go up in the hills, go to coffee plantations, cacao plantations. And I'm sure, the longer you stay, you could develop a nice community with other expats living here as family.
Yeah,
as families.
And help is affordable as well. So that's always, that makes it easier as a family. I'd also touch on things are pretty relaxed here. We rented a car. I was never asked for a driver's license.
Yeah, it was the least amount of paperwork for a car rental I've ever seen.
Ever, for a brand new car too.
Yeah.
I've come across easy car renting, but for very dodgy cars.
Yeah,
I was in Mexico, I remember it's I was worried about the thing falling apart and no questions asked, not even an ID. Here they did ask for a copy of the passport.
Yeah, but just a phone number, no insurance, no driver's license. I mean, €100 deposit on a brand new Jimmy.
The traffic police is not annoying. They're not like, again, in West Africa and Ghana and Ivory Coast out to get you. They don't bother you at all. They don't even look at you.
A lot of the
people don't even use seat belts.
A lot of the police I've seen are unarmed, because it's just not that kind of place.
Yeah, you can just do your thing here. It's nice. One big negative, mosquitoes.
Huge.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say that, the malaria here is under control. That said, I think people do sometimes get it. We talked to one guy who'd been living here for 12 years and he said he had it around 3 or 4 times. So that's...
But he works on a vanilla farm.
Yeah. So, but I would have to say that I got bit by mosquitoes more than almost anywhere else I've been in Africa.
Yeah.
At least inside a city.
Same here. I'm actually wondering if I should go to the pharmacy, get malaria tablets.
While we're on that topic, it'd be interesting to talk about healthcare. It's not something that we dug into very much here. We did see a few hospitals that seem to be able to handle basic maladies, but it does seem that there is a culture of people with serious health problems who have the money, going to Portugal or going to neighboring countries for more sophisticated treatment. If you're living here as a family, that could be a significant downside, especially if you're here in some sort of circumstance where maybe there's less air connectivity than usual, an energy crisis, for example, a war. So it's something to think about. Medical care in Africa is always kind of a wild card.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel very comfortable with healthcare here. I mean, I'll say it straight up. It's limited. They know it's limited. This being said, it's not a place where you're gonna have a lot of problems. It's not, again, like being in West Africa where there's a lot of traffic and the roads are insane and people drive crazy. People do not drive crazy here. I mean, there are barely any cars once you get out of the capital city.
Yeah.
And no one's speeding like crazy. I think it's quite hard. And the roads, circle a lot, so no one's going too fast. It would be hard to get in a really bad car accident. You'd have to be very, very unlucky. It would be a lot easier for you to have a bad car accident in Ghana, in Kenya, in Tanzania, Uganda, name it, South Africa. I saw so many dead people in South Africa and car crashes and all that. Here, healthcare is bad, but you're less likely to have a car accident.
Yeah, I think if I was staying here, we were only here a week, but if I was here long term, I would certainly get a very substantial insurance policy for my family and I.
Yeah, emergency evacuation insurance for sure. Non-negotiable. So we went out at night as well to do some prospecting for clients. So Costa, how's that?
Well, you quickly figure out that there are pretty much only 3 bars on any given night. It's not Barcelona, let me put it that way. But, you can go out, you can find some dancing, you can find some drinks. It's exceedingly affordable. Nightlife in Africa is always, really affordable, which is refreshing, when you come from places like America, Asia, Western Europe, where it's kind of gotten a little out of hand.
And again, you go out at night, no one is harassing you, which is very pleasant.
Yes. As we said before, the expat community is not huge. You're going to pretty much meet everyone within a few weeks of being here. There'll be some new Portuguese NGO workers showing up every once in a while, but they come and go. The community of people that are really sort of here for the long term, you could probably count it on a few hands. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you're a younger person, if you're looking for something a bit more dynamic, this might not be right for you. At least not yet.
We're licensed agents for the Sao Tome Citizenship by Investment program. We can help you process your application from A to Z. There's more information on the process below. That's how you can contact us as well. And unlike most of our competitors, we do not charge any extra agency fees. So you will get the lowest price possible by going through the Wandering Investor.
I will add that I personally help all of our clients prepare their applications and submit their applications. And I'm always happy to provide a free consultation on the program. You can use the link below to contact me directly on WhatsApp.
Make sure to download my free ebook, 12 Mistakes to Avoid When Investing in International Real Estate, which you can find on my website, linked below. And feel free to follow me on Instagram @The Wandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.